wasting her time being, say, a whore and just, you know, partying. You ask me, do I cheat?
Welcome back to Base Benji. This is Big Daddy Benji, aka Mr. TYB, aka Mr. Took Your Bitch. Past tense because it already happened. There's nothing you can do about it. Today, we're gonna find out if Teaching Men's Fashion, Jose Zuniga, if he cheats. Does Teaching Men's Fashion cheat on his wife? We're gonna find out today on Fresh and Fit. It's just like a wild fucking title for a video. We asked Teaching Men's Fashion if he cheats. Just like imagine that. Of course he's not gonna say, oh yeah, I cheat on my wife on a podcast, but let's just get to the video.
With you, so you were able to take that ambition and drive, and you got yourself a girl, and you ended up getting married.
How do you choose her? Okay, hold on. Just real quick. You're a successful guy. You're on the way up, right? How do you choose her over every other girl? Because obviously speaking, you had options. So what made her stand over?
I was talking to Myron about this. It's so hard when you do have money. Because it gets to a point that you start feeling that, and I'm sure you guys have felt that, right? That every girl that's with you is really with you because of what you got, right?
Well, actually, she likes me for me.
Stupid joke. But for real, like for most of the part, you know it's that wow factor, right? This guy has the nice car, and I've always had nice cars too, right?
Lifestyle.
It's a nice car, nice home. So you know that, bro. How many times has a girl hopped into your car and been like, "Wow, what do you do?" Right? Like, you're
for him, he's the one with the Lambo.
Yeah, like it's part of that, right?
I'm going to challenge this a little bit because although he is correct that if a girl has never been with a guy with money or never been with a super high value guy before, when she does get into your nice car, when she does see your nice place, when she does see your nice thing, she's like, wow, oh my God, I never been in a car like this, or wow, oh my God, I never did, blah, 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 blah. But at the highest level of girls, the most attractive girls, the most in-demand girls, this is just another day to them. When you're dating and interacting with women who truly, truly have tons and tons and tons of options, the most attractive girls, having money is really just a prerequisite. It's necessary to play the game, so to speak. Kind of. Really, all of these girls are used to guys with money, used to guys who are high value, because these are the only types of guys that they're messing around with. So having the car is not really like, is she really with me just for my money? Not really, because although she may like it, she's probably already decided I'm only gonna date guys with money, or I'm only dating guys at this level. So it's just normal to her. The fact that you have money isn't necessarily special. It's just the cost of admission to play the game and for her to entertain you as a man. On the other hand, there are girls who don't have lots of dating experiences or girls who don't date around a lot at all. So when they do get access to a guy like Jose and they do see him driving around his nice whips, they're gonna be like, wow, oh my God, I've never been in a car like this. So he's right, but he's also like, it's more complicated than that because a lot of girls, like I said, if they're super hot, they've been in a nice car before, bro. They've been in a nice restaurant, which is why you can't use those things to impress a girl. Unless, of course, she's inexperienced and she's never been with a guy like that, which it sounds like that's what he's talking about.
Not with her. It just didn't matter with her. There was no wow factor with my money. There was no...
And you'll see, he says this himself, with the woman he ended up choosing, the woman who ended up being his wife. I'm assuming if Jose picked her, she's a very worthwhile, high-value woman. She's attractive, etc., etc. So I'm assuming because of all of these things, she's only messing around with guys on Jose's level or guys of that caliber. So she wasn't really impressed by the card. She was really looking for a guy that was a good long-term life partner. So it sounds like he did a pretty good job of getting himself a nice wife. So congrats, but there's no surprise there. Jose's a G.
You know, my girl at that time, she wasn't like that. And I really like, you can feel it. Like she just didn't care about that at that time. And she was so hyper focused on her career and growing and whatever her goals were at the time that I really found it valuable. I was like, man.
This is a really good green flag in a girl. When a girl isn't super shallow, when a girl isn't super materialistic, when a girl is really focused on furthering herself, her career. I know I got a lot of guys like, oh, we don't want a career woman because she's going to be super masculine. This isn't always true. A lot of times if a girl is focused on something like her career, a hobby, something she's passionate about, it means she's spending her time productively and not out getting bottles at the club, at the promoter table, getting ran through by, you know, the frat house. So it's actually a lot of times a positive thing, even though a lot of guys in the red pill space like to say, oh, you know, if she has a career, she's a career-oriented woman, and blah, 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 blah. I get what they're saying, but again, it's not as simple as they would have you believe.
Like, her mentality is so different than every other woman. You know, she had a traditional mentality also, right, where she did want a family. I remember at the time she told me she wanted 6 kids. At the time, bro, I mean, she's changed her mind now because it's tough raising kids, man. But you know, it was a series of things that I saw, and I was like, I really like this in this girl that you just don't find. On top of, she's beautiful. She was built exactly like I wanted her to be built. You know, right in all the right places, type of thing. You know, with the right personality, that didn't party all the time, right? That wasn't all over the place. That's rare, man. That was rare to me. That was like, you don't find this. I'm locking this down.
She went to Harvard, and you know, and I think that's a good thing, because we always talk on this podcast how, you know, a woman's career isn't like the biggest thing for guys like us. You know, we do well, whatever, you know. So it's like
funny you say that. So I
it is true. Honestly, I don't, with the girls I date, with the girls I choose for long-term relationships, or a girl I would be looking for a life partner, I don't really give a fuck if she makes money or not, just because I'm never going to be reliant on anyone else for money. So for me personally, money and financial freedom is something that I've chased since I was extremely young. So my finances, my money situation is always going to be something that's solely dictated by me. I'm not really motivated or even 1% swayed by the fact of a girl having money or not. It literally makes no difference to me.
Remember at the time, that was one of the things that I told her. I was like, I could care less what you are. Like, no, like it really doesn't matter. I'm not saying that I'm telling her not to. Like I do want her to pursue her goals, but she could have been a nurse, a pharmacist, worked at Starbucks. It wouldn't have mattered to me, right? Because I wasn't looking for a girl to provide for me, right? And that's why for most men, it doesn't matter what your career is.
It's an interesting thing, because you mentioned.
Yeah, this is true. A lot of guys, or most guys, aren't looking for girls who are going to provide for them financially. So that's why guys never really care what a girl does with her career or what her profession is, because you're not providing for me anyway. So whether it's, like Jose said, Starbucks, or, you know, a fucking millionaire, it doesn't really matter, unless, you know, you're dealing with a dude who has no motivation and no ambition to do anything of his own. Then, you know, whatever.
Mentioned that she wasn't out there, whatever, like that. And I think,
which is what I like the most about the fact that instead of wasting her time being, let's say, a whore and just, you know, partying and she was wasting her time building herself up.
And I was just going to say that
hyper valuable.
For the guys out there to learn from this is that you don't necessarily care about her career. You care that she was preoccupied doing something that kept her away from doing stupid shit.
By the way, another thing that I really liked about her that was rare is her understanding. So like I told you, my work ethic is insane. My schedule is insane. Like, I'm out of the house before she's even up, right? She only gets to see me about an hour or two at the end of the day.
I was about to ask you that.
Right? So she's super and if I ever tell her, like, babe, I'm backed up, I'm stressed out right now, she'll be like, that's okay, honey, stay and work. Okay, honey, you need to work more. Right? Like, she's super. And by the way, I mean, you guys probably do understand how rare that is, whereas most women want your attention.
Facts.
Back in the day when I was dating, I'm so focused on my work, I would forget your name. I would forget to text you, right? So
yeah, this is facts. Girls and women in general, especially romantic relationships, they operate on attention. They're after attention all of the time. That's really what they're after. It's what they're maximizing. If they love a guy, they really, really like a guy, they want all of his attention all the time. However, if you're a guy with lots of motivation who's building businesses, with time preoccupied, chasing your mission, so to speak, you don't have time to be spending all day every day with your girlfriend. You don't have time to be texting girls, going on multiple dates, etc., etc. This is something that I found in my own personal dating life. The reason I think I've been able to help guys get really good at dating is because my dating life, in order for me to have one, needs to be super hyper efficient. Because similar to Jose, he's speaking facts, so I know he's a real one, is when you're working so much and you have so much stuff going on in your own life, you forget to follow up and text a girl, so you lose momentum, and then trying to get her out on another date, you forget, the momentum's gone, and sort of everything, the whole relationship is gone there. And lots of girls, if you date them, they require so much attention, and when you're working, you're doing your own thing, they don't like that. So at least for me, a prerequisite that I look for in a girl is a girl who doesn't need to be constantly entertained, a girl who doesn't need to be constantly managed, and a girl who doesn't need constant attention, because truthfully, my day-to-day life doesn't allow or have a lot of time for me to be taking a girl out on all these extravagant experiences and adventures 24/7, because one, that's not what I want to be doing myself anyways, and two, I have stuff and businesses that I'm building and things that I'm working on that are more important to me.
So and most of the time it was, you know, give me attention, give me this, give me that. Oh, we should spend more time together. It was, but with her it was different, right? With her, she understood what I needed to, until this day does, and supports me throughout every single time, right? When I said I want to move to New York City, she's like, okay, right? She's like, what are the pros and cons? Like she like, let's do it.
Yeah,
she never. I don't think
questions you.
Ever has she like confronted me like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what's one trait I feel like most high value guys don't talk about much in women that we really need? Understanding women understands your lifestyle, because they can say, yeah, I understand it for a period of time, and then, you know what, I don't like this. But when you really understand it and they get it, that helps you be trimmed. You know what happens?
You just said something clear.
Yeah, you find a girl like that understands your lifestyle, it'll help you move forward even better. Because if you don't, why are you here at this time? Why do you come home? Like, I need time to travel.
Yeah, it's like having a naggy boss at work. The dude's always like on top of you, like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Where's this? Where's that? But at home, and it's your girlfriend or the girl you're supposed to like and have a pleasant, enjoyable time with all the time, she's just nagging, yo, we need to spend time more, you don't spend time with me, you don't care about me. A lot of times when girls feel like they're not getting enough attention from you, what they'll do is they'll just pick a fight with you, because if they pick a fight with you, then what happens? You have her full undivided attention, and even though it's negative attention, she likes the attention. So that's why sometimes girls will start fights for no reason and be really, really toxic in their behaviors like this. So with a girl you want to entertain long-term or date seriously, this is another factor. Fresh is 100% correct here, that you do want a woman who understands your lifestyle, because if she doesn't, she's going to be a naggy bitch, and it's just going to be way more headache and time than it's worth.
This is something very clear.
Yeah.
A lot of women will say they understand your lifestyle first, right? Because you have all the money, right? So like, oh yeah, I understand it now. But they don't know what it entails to actually work. It's what we were talking about, right? It's this constant grind it's almost mind-numbing.
It never ends.
It's repetitive, and it never ends.
Yeah.
She understood it. And she understood it because she had to go through it herself to get into where she was.
And this is a really big point, and it kind of invalidates the whole alpha red pill, machismo idea that you just need to be rich and have money and girls will just date you. And it's like, yeah, they might be more initially interested. Yeah, you might have higher attention, but you still need game. And again, women don't view men as walking resumes. It's not just like, oh, well, he has a Lamborghini and he makes way more money than this guy, so I'm choosing this guy over him. If she can only see this dude once a month or once a week versus a dude who makes half the money and is half as successful, or even a quarter as successful and quarter as rich, but she can see him 24/7 all the time, there's a good chance she's gonna choose this guy, or this guy's gonna have a better chance because he has more time on his hands to give her attention, to spit good game, to build attraction, do all of these things. So a lot of times she'll end up picking that guy, the guy who's more available for her, because he's more available. She can get more of his attention. It's a more fulfilling relationship for her. A lot of guys think that a girl wants to chase a guy forever and ever and ever and ever. It may be good for initial attraction, but what works for initial attraction is not the same as what keeps a girl for the long term.
Right? So she related with it so well, where she's like, no, I get you have to work. When I told her I don't want to retire, no, I get it. Right? Any other girl would be like, oh, take me on a vacation. When are we going on vacation again? When I tell her, babe, I don't like vacations that much.
Yeah.
And I love spending time with her, by the way.
Facts. Vacation fucking sucks, man. It's so boring.
An amazing woman. But I need to work, right? And she just fully comprehends that. And that to me was so valuable.
Yeah.
Because it's rare.
It's hard to find
you you don't find women like that support you so much and understand exactly what you're going through.
So you had some interesting, because we normally don't advocate for marriage on this channel, as you know, because just of all the dangers that come in.
Yep.
But you took some very interesting steps to mitigate risk in your relationship, in your marriage. For the guys out there, that are working on their grind and thinking about getting a girl, what are some of the boundaries that you put up to ensure success in a relationship?
So I always talk about this. I think any healthy relationship it's respect is foundational, right?
Yeah.
And it's a two-way street, right? I'm going to respect her as my wife, as she should respect me as her husband. For example, one of the things that I always told you is like she had a bunch of DMs, bunch of dudes in her DMs, right?
So famous people too, guys.
Big dudes, but
which exactly invalidates the whole point that you just need to be rich and have money, because there are so many guys who are rich and have money. There's millions of millionaires in the US alone. There's millions and millions of millionaires all over the world. So the fact that you become a millionaire somehow just makes you immediately competitive is half true at best, because as he just said himself, his girlfriend had access to tons and tons of rich, famous dudes in her DMs. So the fact that he was rich and the fact that he was successful wasn't necessarily the sticking point and the reason that he won her over. Again, girls are not logical. The sort of irony here of all these red pill videos is that They say, oh, women are emotional, they're irrational, they're not logical beings, blah, 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 blah. Yet somehow women logically choose men who are richer because he's richer. And that obviously makes sense and that's logical. It's like, well, you're saying women aren't logical, red pill guys. But then you're also saying they choose the most logical option, who's the rich guy, the most handsome guy, blah, 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 blah. Yet, when a girl has all these options, she's only dealing with rich and famous guys, or she's dealing with guys beneath it. I've met plenty of girls who left rich, famous, handsome guys for guys that they didn't like because the girl had a much stronger emotional connection. And because all decisions are emotional. Right? If all decisions are emotional, then they don't need to make sense. They don't need to be the most logical. So maybe she won't go back to her toxic ex-boyfriend who's broke and a loser and lives in his mom's basement just because there's so much emotional history and attachment there. It's not the logical thing to do, but it's the logical thing to do according to her emotions. So this idea that women are emotional, they're not logical, but then they choose the most logical choice in a mate, it's like, kind of doesn't really make sense. It's one of those contradictions, one of many in the red pill that I'm kind of just like, someone has to challenge this a little bit more.
The first thing that I told her when we started dating, unfollow, block. I don't want you following guys. Without hesitation. Okay. With like, you don't see that.
You don't find that.
This girl is so like.
But why?
Huh?
I can't have friends?
Yeah.
Hold on, you're controlling.
Yeah.
You're insecure.
But misogyny. Another thing. By the way, my girl is built perfectly, bro. She's beautiful. She has a body on her. Go find one picture of her half naked. Go look for it. I dare you. Anywhere online.
Can't find it.
Won't. And that was before me even coming into the picture, right? So her morals were insane.
Yeah.
She didn't need to use her body, right? And most of these girls that post naked, and again, you are more than welcome to post half naked, right? But you as a guy, you need to understand that if that's who you end up cuffing, right? Ooh, this girl likes male validation.
Yeah.
Because girls aren't posting that because they're empowering their body. Because if that was the case, go post it on Tumblr.
There you go. There you go.
Go post it on, I've said this on, go post it on Pinterest. They won't do that. They post it there because they want the likes from the guys.
Yeah.
They want the comments. And if a girl...
This is total facts. A girl is not posting online or getting all dressed up for herself. This is one of like the most fucking stupid, nonsensical takes we hear in the modern day. I dressed up like this for myself. I put on this makeup for myself. Blah, 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 blah. It's not true. Because when girls are home alone by themselves, what are they wearing? No makeup, sweatpants. They look their worst, right? Their worst according to their own beauty standards, because when they go out to somewhere where they're going to be seen with a lot of people, they're going to take pictures, they get all dolled up. And again, I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying that, maybe a girl puts on makeup when she's bored and wants to do it for fun. Yes, of course that happens. However, if you are getting all dressed up for someone, it's either for one of two reasons. One, to boost your sense of ego, your physical perception of yourself, to live up to this ideal of yourself. Or two, most likely because you want other people to perceive you in a certain way and you want the validation for how they perceive you. Maybe you don't even want the validation. I'll give it to you girls. You don't want the validation, but you want to influence how people perceive you, which is totally fine. Every time I wear clothes and I go outside, if I know I'm going to a business meeting, if I'm going on a date, if I'm going somewhere where I might meet someone, yes, I do get dressed up to make a good first impression, to take advantage of the impression I'm going to make with my clothing and how I present myself. So that's totally fine, but you don't need to lie about it. Like, we all do this. I don't know why we have to magically make up this nonsense. Oh, I did it for myself. Oh.
Girls ever open for male validation? If any guy seeps in that might be higher value than you, and again, for example, in my case, right, I'm the type of guy that works a lot, right, and I try to give my girl as much attention, and by the way, that's because I want to. I genuinely want to give her attention. I also have a daughter that I love above everything else, so I genuinely want to spend time with them, right, but I also understand that I might be a little absent on some occasions because I'm working a lot. So when you're in this case, it's so easy for another guy to come in.
Facts.
Right? Yeah. And give a little of emotion, right? You know how guys are. I'm the friend. I'm the, right? So if the girl already has that tendency of wanting male validation, and you're in a situation like that.
Add that to the mix.
Correct. Add that to the mix. You're in a situation like that, and she's posting for validation, and one of those guys just seeps in that just is the right guy. Boop. Now you look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
He's making a great point. But again, this also serves as evidence to challenge the idea of a high value man, because again, it's not a one size fits all scenario of what dictates high value. Because in this scenario, a lot of women would see a man as very desirable, very high value to her, very valuable to her as a relationship partner if he has lots of attention to give her. So in a scenario like this, Jose knows, because he's smart and he knows what he's talking about, he knows, yeah, listen, if I'm with a girl who loves male validation, who loves and needs a lot of attention from men, when I'm not there to give her attention because I work a lot and I'm working on my businesses, then that leaves her and me susceptible to someone else coming in and ruining or compromising the relationship. So this is a totally logical way of viewing it. And he understands that being high value doesn't mean just being rich, being famous, having a lot of money, having fast cars, going on nice vacations. A lot of times, a woman can make a decision that what's valuable to her is the attention from a male, because the emotional connection that builds and being able to constantly be with someone is very enticing and desirable. He knows this, so he decides to choose a girl isn't like that. Very smart, but again, it kind of invalidates the whole premise of the red pill that, oh, he's high value, blah, 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 blah. And you subconsciously and inherently know this because you don't want your girlfriend talking to lots of guys. You don't want your girlfriend getting tons of attention from other guys, or most guys don't anyways, for the most part. Yet, the reason you don't is because you know that attention is valuable, even if you are, quote, higher value than that guy. Again, some of the contradictions that don't really make sense in the overly macho red pill, but I digress.
I have boundaries that I have in my life as a man that I think should be respected. I'm not telling you that you should agree with them, because if you do not agree with them, that's okay, right? You don't have to be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But most guys don't have that mentality, and they're scared of saying, oh, don't do that because of, oh, she might get mad.
You might lose her.
You might lose her, right? And that's the problem. That desperation is what leads guys to being so needy and, you know, getting bamboozled all the time, bro. You look dumb.
Yeah.
All right, he's spitting facts, but I thought they were going to ask him if he cheats on his wife. Where is this, bros?
But yeah, I mean, a two-parent household is so crucial, right? And by the way, that's also a responsibility that I have, right? You asked me, do I cheat? I do not cheat, right? Because I am of that mentality that how you do everything is how you do anything, right? So if I told her I'm going to be loyal, that's the man that I am. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, if you're the type of guy that wants to have multiple girls, that's fine.
Yeah.
But most of these guys have open communication, right? Like,
yeah, be honest about
by the way,
which is what we say.
Because otherwise, you know, you're a puss too. Like, you're lying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so if I told her this is what I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Right? And then on top of that,
this is a big point here, is if you do lie about being with other women, being in another relationship, the downside of this is that you do lose respect, because now you're basically telling the girl, like, hey, like, I'm afraid to tell you the truth, or, oh, you can't trust me. And when she can't trust you, she loses respect for you. So there's issues that come with lying if you're gonna cheat on your girlfriend. It's just funny that the red pill has gotten into a place where it's assumed that if you're rich and you're in a relationship, you're cheating on your girlfriend. Like, look, trust me, you don't gotta tell me. I know more guys than I can count. More than you can ever imagine of guys who cheat. Guys at the top level making lots of money, lots of options. The guys who make no money, or guys who are very broke and just cheat just because. Cheating is very common behavior, but it's just funny that they ask him because they're like, oh, he's a high value guy, we gotta know if he cheats, because all high value guys cheat, at least according to the red pill. So it's funny to say that he does it. And again, I'm not knocking Fresh and Fit at all. This podcast is hilarious. Their episodes are hilarious. It's just, the red pill is funny sometimes, man. The red pill is fucking funny. Another thing to keep in mind is that I know this is aspirational. A lot of guys are working to better themselves and become the high value guy, and I always encourage you to use your full potential and to live up to your full potential. However, most guys, the majority of men watching this, just by the sheer volume and just by sheer human nature, are not going to get to this level, or not going to get to a level where they can consider themselves to be high value. That's just the numbers, right? So the expectation that you can and should be able to cheat in all of your relationships, it's like, you can't just decide you're a high value guy because you said you're high value and because you watched a bunch of videos and watched a bunch of podcasts, and now, like, oh, I'm the man and you have to submit to me because I'm a man, and you have to behave like a woman because I'm a man. It's like no, the only time a woman's going to accept that behavior and be willing to put up with it and be willing to let it slide is if she thinks you are worthy of letting it slide. And what's that? How is she going to think that? How is she going to think of you in this way? It's if you do become a man of value. And again, as we know, value, being high value, is an extremely flexible concept that can change based on the girl's emotional needs, like what the girl's looking for, etc. So again, what do you know? These red pill concepts are a little bit more, difficult and less clean cut as people in the space would have you believe. Jose, drop some gems in this one. Fresh and Fit, we're dropping some gems in this one. Jose's a dope guy. I met him personally. Honestly, one of the smartest YouTube business people I've ever met. Super dope guy. So I'm not surprised he knows what he's talking about. That's been it. This is Big Daddy Benji, aka Mr. TYB, Base Benji. See you guys in the next one.